Okay, so let's just jump right into this because it's a feeling a lot of us know. We all say we want peace, right? We work for it, we chase after it. But what happens when you actually get it? For so many of us, when that quiet moment finally lands, it can feel, well, just strangely wrong.
I mean, have you ever had this happen? You finally get that weekend with nothing on the calendar. No emergencies, no fires to put out. And instead of feeling that big sigh of relief, you get this jolt of anxiety. It makes no sense. Why does the very thing we think we crave so often feel so incredibly unsettling?
And this discomfort, it doesn't just hang in the air. It shows up in really specific ways. So instead of just kicking back and relaxing, you might feel totally restless, like you're just waiting for something bad to happen. Or maybe your brain just clicks into overdrive, suddenly looking for a problem to solve, or replaying some conversation from last week. Or, and this is a big one, you might even pick a fight over something completely pointless. Does any of that ring a bell? It's way more common than you think. So if this is happening to you, it is so easy to start thinking, what is wrong with me? But listen, the answer isn't that you're broken. There is a really powerful, kind of hidden reason for all this, and it has everything to do with how your brain is wired to keep you alive. And this is the absolute key to understanding this whole thing. It's not a personal failing. It is not that you secretly love chaos. It's your nervous system. And it's basically running on an old program that was built for a totally different environment. So let's unpack what that actually means. So this all comes down to one core idea: nervous system adaptation. Just think of your brain as this brilliant learning machine. If you've spent years in a high-stress environment, maybe a chaotic job, a tough upbringing, whatever, your brain doesn't just cope with it, it adapts. It becomes an absolute expert at expecting and navigating that level of chaos. And this right here, this illustrates the disconnect perfectly. So your nervous system's number one job isn't to make you happy, it's to keep you safe. And to your brain, safe just means familiar. So look at this. On one side, you've got what might be deeply familiar: chaos, constant pressure, always being on high alert. And on the other, you have what is actually safe: calm, stability, rest. So when your brain, which is trained for battle, suddenly finds itself in a quiet field, it sounds this massive internal alarm that screams, "Warning, this is not normal. Something is wrong here." Okay, so what happens when that internal alarm starts blaring? Well, it triggers this unconscious response. Without even thinking about it, we start to act in ways that, from the outside, look like we're literally trying to blow up our own peace. This quote just gets right to the heart of it. It's not a conscious choice. You don't wake up and think, you know what I want today? More drama. No way. It's that when your nervous system is telling you something is wrong because it's too quiet, you unconsciously try to get back to the state it recognizes. You try to get back to whatever feels normal. And for a lot of us, what's normal is chaos. And this builds into a really clear pattern of, you guessed it, self-sabotage. Here's how it plays out. Step 1, things finally get calm. The situation is stable. Step 2, your nervous system, which is still geared up for a different reality, flags this new quiet as unfamiliar, and therefore maybe unsafe. And then step 3, your brain, trying to fix the problem, actually manufactures new stress just to get back to that familiar high alert state. It's a really frustrating feedback loop. Okay, I know that all might sound a little bit grim, but here is the really good news. Just understanding this pattern is unbelievably empowering. Because if a response was learned, well, that means it can be unlearned, and a new one can be built in its place. This is how we move forward. I really want you to let this one sink in for a second. If you feel restless or anxious when things are good, it is not a sign that you're broken. It doesn't mean there's some secret flaw in your relationship or your job or your life. Instead, I want you to try reframing it like this. That discomfort you're feeling, that's actually the feeling of growth. It's your nervous system literally building new pathways. It's kind of like the soreness you feel in your muscles the day after a new workout. That feeling is the proof that you are learning something new and actually getting stronger. So what is the number one thing to take away from all this? It's this idea right here. Peace is a skill. We spend so much of our lives learning how to manage stress and put out fires, but we almost never practice how to just be in a state of calm. It's a capacity that we can build, one quiet moment at a time. And that brings us to our final thought here, and it's a question for you to take with you. Instead of just thinking about peace as, the absence of problems, start to pay really close attention and ask yourself this: what does peace actually feel like in my body? By learning to recognize that physical sensation, maybe it's your shoulders dropping an inch, or your heartbeat slowing down, or just the feeling of taking one full deep breath, you can start to teach your nervous system that this new quiet state isn't just safe, it's home.